To all my Mountaineer fans and fans in general, boy, again, I have a very special guest, and I'm honored, humbled, and privileged to have him on my show, Relatively Sports with Eugene Napoleon. This young man, we've played together many moons ago in Little League football for a really successful coach and team, and he's always been like a brother to me. So I'm honored to have him on my show because when we get into it, you'll understand exactly who he is. But I have none other than Tyrone Taylor on. We call him Ty. So, bro, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to jump on my show. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. I appreciate you for having me. Thank you very much.
No, so I'm not going to get into the CEO part just yet.
Cool. Cool.
I want
All
to take
right. Hey man, let's just have a conversation, bro. Let's do it.
I want to take a step back down memory lane.
Okay.
When you and I first met, as I said, back in Little League.
Yeah.
And how many years ago was that when we both
I'm not even going to tell. I can't let the gray and our baldness tell the story.
Absolutely. But you want to know what? Hey, Ty, man, those were some really special years.
They really were. Yeah,
and we
really were.
Played for some really good guys. Lenny Romano and that staff was really good guys, man.
Right.
So back then, did you know the journey that we both was on as student athletes? Did you know it was going to propel you for where you are now?
I had no idea.
You had no idea.
None.
So I'm going to say this. So Tyrone Taylor is the CEO of Great Minds Unlimited, among other things, because he's also an adjunct professor at Keene University in New Jersey, for those who don't know where it's located. But he's navigated so many different successful ventures in his life. And I want to go back to football to see if there was a connection as to how being disciplined as a student athlete helped you to migrate and navigate into the business world.
Mm-hmm. Sure. So is that the question, or that's what we're going to talk about?
Yeah, we're going to jump into that. Like, how did playing sports, the self-discipline that helped you become a successful athlete, prepare you to be a successful businessman?
So I'll start with the competitiveness of sports and being an athlete, right? Having the will and desire to play against the competition and to be competitive, to challenge yourself, to want to be the best that you can be on the field. Being off the field wasn't even a question, because on the field was our safe haven, when back in the day, right? Like that was our way to avoid the streets, our way to really just kind of learn something, to make friends that weren't doing the other things that some of our other friends were doing. Right. And to establish a camaraderie that came as a result of being an athlete. Really, I had the desire to be doing something other than hanging out on the streets, man. And football gave me that outlet to do that. And it helped that we had some talent that helped us to do well, right? Because we played on a championship team together. So so that was one of the things that really was nice about being an athlete in that time. Was it kept us out of trouble, and it got us to meet some new people, some friends, some people that weren't from our immediate neighborhood, right? But because we all kind of came together from different areas, right? Which areas in which one part was against another based on territory, right? It's like, he's from Greenville, he's from Lafayette, he's from Montgomery, he's from Duncan, right? All of us kind of came together on the field, and when we were together on the field, we were one, right? It wasn't about those different areas, and that's I gathered that as I was growing up. It was great to go to practice. It felt great to go to practice. It felt great to get together with people who I didn't know every day, and to compete. And we all competed together. We were going against other towns within New Jersey, And so we represented Jersey City. Chilltown was one, right? Chilltown was one, and we played Montclair, we played Nutley, we played Clifton, we played all those other areas that where we had a lot of pride. And that's the other thing that was important to me, is to that sense of pride, the sense of being a champion, and from a place where we were always looked upon as the hood, the people who didn't have anything going for us, right? The perspective, or the thought of the outcome of most of the guys our age was that we were either going to be locked up, strung out on drugs, or dead,
Or dead. Right.
right?
Right.
So that was it was a great experience for me. I had no idea it would lead me to where I am today. I just knew that I needed to do something different than what I was seeing in my neighborhood, what I was seeing in the streets. And that's where I found it, on the football field.
Wow.
Yeah, man. Um,
And to God be given all the glory.
Absolutely. All the glory. Absolutely.
Us, because as you said, that's very true. Me coming from Marion Garden Projects in Jersey City, and that was a totally different deal. But I thank God for the way my mom raised me and how I grew up, because it helped to springboard who I am today.
Absolutely.
But it
Absolutely.
definitely benefited us from playing for some really good, like I said, really good men who understood that journey prior to us, because they was older than we were. And they was just
Absolutely.
trying to make sure that we were on the right track.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And speaking of our moms, and blessings to you. I know your mom is no longer with us. But our moms were, I mean, they were the glue. They were the backbone for us being who we were, because they always wanted us to do well and do better, right? And they were there in full support. I mean, I remember our moms coming together to talk about the jackets we were going to get, when we won the championship. I remember
Right.
our moms talking about we were going to take the PSAT to get into high school, and our moms connected, right? I mean, so they all wanted us to do well, and they were relieved that we played football, and really supported us. A lot of kids don't have that, though, right? I mean, my mom was a single mom. I believe your mom was as well,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they worked hard to make sure that we found some outlet to do
Right.
better and to be better. I'm thankful for my mom, because she recognized that my environment was very toxic, from at least the area that I was in. I was going to go to Marist. I think, if you remember,
Right.
I
Yes.
was going to go to Marist, and then my mom said, "You're not staying in Jersey City. You're getting out of here, brother. You're going to California, live with your dad." And she sent me to California, where I went to an all boys Jesuit high school, St. Ignatius, out in San Francisco. And that's a whole nother story. But you want to talk about culture shock, man? Coming from Jersey City, and the team that we're used to being on, playing the kind of ball we were playing. Um, all boys Jesuit high school in San Francisco. It was the number 6 high school in academics. I come from PS number 34 school, man. I went to that school. I'm like, what is
Right.
this? So it gave me even more reason to hang on to football, because I thought that was all I could contribute. Because academically, I don't think I was as ready for the academic challenge that I was going to be faced with when I moved out there.
Right.
But I mean, in fact, the first year I begged my mom to bring me back to Jersey.
Right.
But I came back that summer. I don't know if we ever connected. We did one time. I think I said I was going to come back and transfer to St. Joe's. You said,
Right.
"Nah, I'm at St. Joe's, bro. You ain't coming here. I'm the only star here, boy." I said, "You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right." Anyway, but what I did realize is that when I came home, I was able to see my environment from a different perspective, because I'd been away, and I got the opportunity to see something different, and beg to go back to school out in California, because I wanted something better for myself. And
Wow.
so, yeah, so that's what ended up happening, is that I went back out there, and I put a lot more focus into the sport. In addition to running track, I mean, I wasn't never a very good basketball player, but I tried. Just being that all around athlete, right? And I just loved, and I to this day I love sports, to the point where I can't even watch it anymore, because I get sick thinking
Wow.
about. Yeah, oh, absolutely. That's why I can't be. I don't know. I try to be a sports fan. I
Right.
just frustrated. And I don't like feeling frustrated because you know how we used to play, Eugene. I mean, when we played, we had a great coach who allowed us um, what's what I'm looking for, individual contribution, meaning we ran a lot of our own plays because we read the line, we've read the whole team that was on the other side, and we would
Right.
come back in the huddle and say, "What play I think?" Len Romano used to say, "Run this play." We would look back, you and Bake was like, "Nah, that's not gonna work with these dudes." And we run our own play and score touch. I remember it like it was yesterday, bro. We're like,
Yeah.
no, we're running this play, and we run it, and let him go like, oh my god, it worked. Like
We
you
were
can see him
always
looking like, what
gracious.
are they doing?
We were always gracious to give him the credit. You take the
Absolutely,
credit.
absolutely, absolutely. Right, right. So anyway, but sports took me to a whole nother. I mean, you know, playing football gave me the opportunity to understand what teamwork is, to help me understand strategy, how to best use your abilities, how to understand your strengths and your challenges. I learned that along the way just from working with some good coaches that I had the opportunity to play under in the time that I was coming up, especially in high school. One of the greatest coaches I've had, Ray Calcano, was a phenomenal coach there at SI for a number of years. The year that I was a sophomore, and I played varsity my sophomore year, we finally went to the playoffs after they hadn't been there for years.
Wow.
Yeah, and then the next year we got a step further in the playoffs, and then in the last year, my senior year, we got to the last game before the state finals, and that didn't pan out. But we got far. We got, you know, but I always had that competitive nature in me. I always
Right.
had that, you know, that feeling of, you know, there's nothing less than winning in this game, right? And my running style, I mean, you always had that Tony Dorsett style, but I was more like a Billy Sims kind of runner, just
Yes.
real hard running, right? I mean, it was different, but I was of the mentality, you know, never let one man bring you down, right? So if one person got my foot, you wasn't bringing me down. If you got me by my waist, you weren't bringing me down.
Right.
It's
Right.
gonna
Right.
take four of y'all to get me down. Like that was my mentality. I mean, that's how I was able to, you know, break records at, you know, in the high school that I was that I, where I played. But yeah, so that's what football taught me. It taught me to really get focused on the importance of teamwork, the importance of leadership, the importance of strategy, and all of that. I think led to where I am today. You know,
Yeah.
yeah, and I took that on to college and learned even more. I played with Dave Craigthorpe, who was BYU's coach when BYU was winning all those games. He went over to Oregon State the year that I got there because Joe Avezzano was the head coach. He later went on to Dallas to be the special teams coach for them and was extremely successful with them. But that's who brought me to Oregon State, Joe Avezzano and Coach Bowler at Oregon State. And Boulder stayed there, and that's who said, "Yeah, we'll take you." Since Ohio State won't take you, we'll bring you up here. And they brought me in, and I had some good training there. And in fact, my freshman year, I got. This is not boasting about me. This is just about how every experience kind of led to the next, right? I always had that leadership mentality, I think, and so, you know, my freshman year, they redshirted me and had me on the practice team. And even on the practice team, I'm like, I'm not losing. Like,
Right.
I'm not about to be on this practice team to take up time and space. I'm like, y'all gonna see who I am on the practice team, and ended up getting the coaches award for, you know, that year, and was the first registered freshman to travel with the team. You know, not supposed to travel with the team, but they suited me up. I didn't play, so I didn't have to, you know, forfeit my redshirt year. But as a result of the you know, the push, the leadership, the drive, the grit, you know, my determination, and this is all that they told me. You know, they invited me to make that trip, and that was one of the most exciting times because the trip was to Stanford University, which was 30 minutes from my house in San Francisco. So allowed for a lot of friends and family, including my high school coach, to for us to all get together again and talk about that experience. So yeah, so that all kind of led to me being again learning something new with every experience, and that was one of those experiences that taught me that working hard, working smart will get you where you want to go ultimately. You just got to recognize and understand, how that works and be willing to accept that. And
Right.
if you're willing to accept that, embrace it, and make it a part of who you are, I think that the rest is pretty much simple and easy for the most part.
Wow.
So yeah, so that's definitely football had everything to do with who I am today, and in terms of my learning experiences.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Is it like, first off, great minds, un, uh,
Unlimited.
give me an idea. What is that all about?
So Great Minds Unlimited is a HR and training and development training and development organization. It's a consulting firm that works with various organizations from nonprofit to for-profit, large Fortune 100 companies to very small companies. Where I did HR for about 25 years, and worked with some great companies like, you probably never even heard of these companies. I hope I can say this online, but ESPN, the Walt Disney Company, Viacom, CBS, and then my last stint was at Cablevision Systems as the director of HR, vice president of HR for the John Gore Group, which is everything Broadway out of New York. I did a stint with them as well, and and so that experience, taught me a lot about um, employment compliance, and understanding employee relations, and how we can maximize the full potential of the people that work with the organization. Because that was
Right.
my job as the HR leader, was to not only find the folks to come work for the organization, but further develop them to become the best that they can be, so that they can put out what they need to help the organization be successful. So in my last I'll say the last opportunity I had working in HR, I had I want to say the benefit of being laid off as a result of an organizational structure that took place. And when I was laid off, I tried to go back into the workforce, but I always had in the back of my mind that I want to do my own thing, right?
Right.
And
Right.
it felt like whenever I went to work for an organization, I felt like that was that one man that was trying to pull me down. It's going to take more than you to pull me down, man. I gotta be successful. And what some people will define. I mean, a lot of people will say, Ty, you were very successful in
Right.
those roles, but I didn't feel right. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It didn't feel right. I didn't feel like I was being my best. I didn't feel like I wanted to conform, I guess, or to give up my individual creativity that I know existed within me.
Right.
The drive and the grit that and the knowing, the knowledge that I could do better,
Mhm.
um, made me take on the opportunity to do something on my own. And so I started that journey around about 2013. Started doing things on my own, and it wasn't HR at first. It was talent management. So
Right.
talent management encompasses I think a lot of what HR is about, where you are developing people and making them better and managing their lives and their careers. And so I went into the music industry with that, because I had some experience. I did internships with my uncle, who had major deals with Atlantic Records and produced several artists. In fact, I don't know, you aren't you're Marion Garden, so you would know this area. But Paul Kaiser is my uncle, who was a music producer at the time, who had a host of number one hits that were national and internationally acclaimed, and had me work with him for a number of years. In fact, in between my work, I would go work with him and help develop artists. So I thought I'd take that path. I had an artist that was ultimately signed to a multi-million-dollar deal with Atlantic Records that didn't pan out, because for a number of reasons, I guess. which was, it was hard to take, but we tried to make things happen with that. I had several other artists after that, but still something was missing for me.
Sure.
Something was still missing for me, and I had all this experience, this corporate experience, that I didn't know what to do with. I didn't want to just throw it away because it was work that I thoroughly enjoyed. I've always been in the business of not only, being competitive myself, but helping other people to recognize their strengths,
Right.
helping people to identify how they can be the best that they can be, and so that's what, led me down that path. And so after about 4 or 5 years producing records, I got, my name on a number of projects. um I just didn't feel like I wanted to go that route anymore, because I pray. Look, you, man, are a genius, brother. I watch you do what you do in this industry, and God bless you, because you and your wife are phenomenal in what you do, and that's great. The good thing is you have a great partner, and that's what's important, right? So to have people, I mean, I don't think any success can be done alone, can be achieved, on your own, right? And what most people say, well, behind every good man is a good woman. Like, no, beside every good man is a good woman, right?
Absolutely.
And so that's what's admirable about what you've been able to achieve. And I'm not talking about my ex or anything like that. I just didn't have the support from anybody. I didn't feel like I thought I needed, and felt like I needed to pursue to take that path.
Gotcha.
So I decided to, while I was doing that, I was still an HR consultant for, different companies. People that I've worked for would say, hey, Ty, why don't you come in and do some work for us? We got this kind of project going on. So I took on projects, HR projects, that kind of kept my skills up, kept my knowledge up in the field. And as I saw that growing, and saw the music industry for me kind of declining, I just pursued that a little more. And again, I've had some challenges along the way, right? I mean, I know, people say, yeah, you had a lot of successes. Trust me, none of those successes came without failure. None of them. So I've had to learn. I had to learn with each experience. I'm still learning today. I always post, things about, you're never too old to learn. I think once you stop learning, look up, because it's going to be 6 feet between you and the sun, and and the daylight, right?
Absolutely.
Of dirt. So we have to be willing to learn, and then and then being in a position to develop people. I think all good teachers have to be good students. And so that's why, I went back to school, learned a master's degree in adult education and training, to kind of extend myself in that area, and to put myself in a better position. I'm in school next month at Harvard for the organization leadership program, which I'm very excited about. So this is one of the things that I just kind of keep within myself, is that I have to keep evolving. I have to keep doing what I can to get better and better at what I do, so that there's no question. And if there is any question, um, it is what it is. I just know that having the experience makes this journey what it is today for me.
Right.
Where I can look back and say, where I thought I was slacking, I did what I did. I did what I needed to fill the gap where I felt like I was slacking. When I didn't do well, it was a learning experience for me. Then, I didn't get uptight. I didn't fall to a point where I said, you know what, forget all this, I'm just going to go back into corporate America.
Right.
I just took advantage of the opportunity to start building training programs under my company, Great Minds Unlimited, which I actually established in 2018 during Black History Month. And I kind of made it a spin-off of my management company, my talent management company, which was Capital Star Management.
Right.
And says, no, let me transition this from talent management in music to talent management, period.
Period.
Being in a position to teach, and to share my experiences, my journey with folks, and to hear about their journey and the things that their experiences to come together to strategize about how we can make their experience and their journey even better, more
Better.
fulfilling, for them to get what it is they want out of life, so that they can live a happy and fruitful and fulfilling life.
Man, listen.
It's a lot, right? I'm sorry.
No, I got a minute left. I got to have you back on for part 2. But
oh wow, the part.
yeah, I got a minute. No, but I got a minute left in closing. I want you to sum up something for me,
Yeah,
because for the young people that don't really understand, you said a lot of things that I always talk to my students about. But the quick part about this is your determination and desire to learn never stopped, no matter how successful you were.
absolutely.
So if you can, in about 40 seconds or less, could you just share that real quick? What would you say to a young person who's trying to become successful and they just don't know how?
I would start by saying, how do you define success? What is success to you? Right? So that once you're clear on that, then we can kind of move in the right direction. But I think any young person would have to really sit down and think about, what would success look like to you?
Mm.
Right? And is that where you truly want to be? And do you understand what that truly is? Right? Is it having a whole lot of money, or is it having a happy life, that allows you to live and be who you want to be, and as an individual or successful, and a successful person. So I would start with helping, understanding how you define success, and say, once you define that, let's sit down and sit down and draw a roadmap for yourself. Start figuring out, how do you get there? What's the path? What are the paths I need to take? Do I need to go back to school? Do I need to have a mentor? Do I need to, do I need to have some experience? What are some things I'm going to have to do to get to that point? But I think it starts with just really defining what it is for yourself, and that's going to tie into what it is you want for yourself, and then bringing that all together will help you to get to where you ultimately want to be. So, I mean, that's 40 seconds. I could go on for an hour.
Oh, listen, Ty, I'm definitely going to bring you back for part 2, because all of this is exactly what my show is all about. So
Gotcha.
I need you for part 2, my friend.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
you heard it, all my fans, all he said absolutely. So I got you. I'm gonna lock back in with you and
Amen.
find out what time works for you.
Yeah, man, we can do that. We can talk about that. Absolutely. Yep.
I
Anytime,
appreciate
anytime I'm available. I do travel every now and then, but
it.
I'll make it work, man. We'll make it work. This is what I love. This kind of stuff that I aspire to do and be. But so thank you for allowing me the platform and the opportunity to do that.
You got it. All right, Tyrone Taylor, as we call him, Ty. I'll be back in touch, my brother. Thank you so
You
much.
got it, my man. Good to see you, brother.
Good to see you.
All right, you got it, man. Take care.
Later.